The way I see it, there are two kinds of nervousness. There's the debilitating kind, right? That leaves you standing still. It makes some people faint. It makes you choke. It puts terrible things in your throat, and you just can't do anything with it. It's terrible. And you've got to worry about that sometimes, but worrying more is terrible. The second kind, of course, is this weird giddy energy that seems to come from somewhere below your chest area, and you can just feel it fill up your body, gives you the shakes. It kind of puts you on edge, you feel a little jumpy, it's like adrenaline, but it's an energy that you can use. You can tell yourself that you're going to take this nervousness, you're going to turn it into energy that you're going to like fly off the handle. Well, maybe not fly off the handle, but at least you're going to keep yourself more aware of your surroundings, more adept at doing things. It's workable. And my goal, at the very least, is turn that first one that you can't use into the second. So, how do you deal with nervousness? Well, in general, right before you're going to perform, whether it's for an audition, on stage, or just practicing to a crowd, this pretty much goes for anything. You know, public speaking, acting, you know, even presenting something you've written. You're going to feel some degree of nervousness, and the best thing I can think of is, well, the easy solutions, right? You kind of sit down, you say to yourself, you know what, I got this, right? I'm going to read over the script a little bit in my head. I've practiced it so often, I know what I'm going to do, right? And I've seen some people take it a little bit of a step further, but that's an important thing to remember. Whatever works for somebody else, you don't judge it. If it works for them, it works. You don't have to understand it, only that it works. So if you find a tactic that works, go with it. I don't, you know, everything I say is my opinion, so whatever. I'm just saying. For me, you know, go over it once, twice, the one thing you're actually going to do it, and, you know, give yourself a bit of confidence, you know, say it. You know, I've done this so many times. Even though this is the time when it's going to come out in person, I can do this, you know. I have my own back. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've done so much work to get here. You've got it. Okay? And of course that means there's been a few steps before that in where we've actually practiced it out how it's going to work. You've thought out everything. Nothing is left up to chance, really. You know, aside from jumping into the action right away, you know, you kind of know what you're going to do. For example, the craziest way I've ever prepared for something, you know, as according to other people might judge me, you know, because crazy is subjective, there was this one time for my theater classes in university, I had to present some monologues, a lot to remember. So I went to the graveyard, I climbed a tree, and I presented my monologues to the audience. You know, I'm sure I wasn't disrespecting anyone. I'm sure if graves are actually considered people, then they appreciated the company. But that was one way for me to really consider, okay, I'm doing this in front of people. I've got a space that's actually really good to use my whole voice range. And, you know, I don't have to worry about people judging me, because my issue of being judged is that if it's not ready, if it's not all got a plan, then if something goes wrong, they're going to think, well, of course it's terrible, he wasn't prepared. But how can you prepare something if you're not also prepared for whatever might be thrown at you? Anyway, you can use different tactics to deal with nervousness, right? If you looked at me before I went to go on and present something, you'd see me standing in line probably singing a Mario tune to myself, because honestly that's a weird thing that works for me. Like, I'm a gamer, okay? If I sit back and I just, you know, sing the song of, you know, World 1 of Super Mario Bros. 3, right? All of a sudden, you know, all the different gaming musics that have, you know, happy memories and really optimistic tunes and stuff come to me in my headspace, and all of a sudden, well, you know, even when I'm at work and it's monotonous, and you work in retail and everything's monotonous, trust me. You know, you gotta not let that one customer that's just terrible get to you. Well, then all of a sudden your whole reality kind of shifts. Everything's a little bit happier, nothing can touch you. You know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. Or at least, I'm gonna tell you what it's like. And then maybe you'll know. But there's other tactics too. I'll be honest with you guys. To sleep at night, I listen to things that I guess can be called ASMR videos, okay? You know, there's channels like EphemeralRift or MassageASMR. I'll put them up in the description just so you kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from, right? They're videos that kind of help you to relax by like listening to weird sounds in your head or just the ways of voice talking and tone and, you know, very specific stories and things. And I just listen to them over and over again at night till I fall asleep to them. It's interesting. But the point is, like, I might just be, you know, sitting to wait for my turn and, you know, to keep my heart from racing and everything that comes with just the natural anxiety and stuff. I might just be, you know, tapping my fingers together on a little board and kind of remembering, yeah, that's a sound that makes me relax. I can kind of just, you know, do like this and remember what it's supposed to mean. And all of a sudden I feel a little bit better. You know? Because being relaxed when you go into an audition shows people confidence, maybe. You know, it might show them that, okay, this guy's prepared to be in something that throws him out of his comfort zone. But really, it's kind of like a cheat, because what I'm really doing is just something to keep me relaxed. But honestly, maybe it's not cheating. Maybe that's the point. Interesting, huh? Whew. You say that practice makes perfect, right? But if you've got the fear of, like, being in front of people, then how do you practice? Because every little thing becomes worse. Well, I guess start small. Like right now, in front of a camera, if this goes wrong right now, it's not the end. See, like right now, even talking to you, sometimes I get an issue where it's like something in the back of my throat will affect how I talk. Now, maybe that's just the coldness of the air, because not only am I in Canada, but it's minus 25 outside, you know? There's certain factors. But all that weird, nervousy, weird stuff, bodily functions and stuff aside, we can cut that out in editing now. But how do you deal with that in real life, except by just, you know, fighting your way through it? Getting back to a space where you're in control. Because that's the cool thing about being in performance art. You're in control of your own actions, right? And maybe you've got a set of them, and everybody's kind of okayed them. But what you do, you are the best at. That's why you're there in that role. Okay? If you're going to present your essay to the class, well, gosh darned, you are the best person to do it. You know, nobody else knows what you know. Nobody else is going to anticipate your next word. You control everything. You are in control. And that's a really good thing. Sometimes I just sit by and I remind myself of these things, and yeah, it helps a little, but I think it's really all a process. The only way to get better at something, I suppose, is to do it over and over again. You know, do I ever actually get better at improv? Yeah. Yeah, I am. It's true. It's something I keep working on. It's an issue for me. But because it's an issue for me, you know, I psych myself out a little bit, but then I kind of get myself into a place where I can work on it productively, and then it adds up to goodness. It was that way in university for exams. I'd freak myself out. Man, I gotta study. You know, there's all this stuff to remember. How am I gonna get it? You know, this essay is worth 50% of my mark. Okay, you know, get your sources, get your books from the library, MLA, make sure everything's in place, because if you plagiarize, you're out. Oh boy, there's even, like, legal ramifications, so make sure everything's there, commas in the right place. They're crazy about that stuff. But even though you drive yourself mad with it, in the end, you produce something that works. And you can say, yeah, okay, I drove myself crazy. But it turned out okay. Let's do it again! And that's what works for me. I'm not saying that'll work for you, but it's a dialogue, really, me and this camera that I'm talking to right now. That is you. So, I'd really like your input on the matter. How do you deal with nervousness out there? Because, you know, whether it's something you deal with on a daily basis or not, it's gonna come up. You know, I got little tricks that help myself, you know. Not only remembering that it's something I can get past, but also, whenever you record anything, do more than one take. That's what they tell me. Or at the very least, cut out the bad bits and put them at the end as a joke. That works too. Because nervous energy can be a really good way to flow things. You know, because sometimes what makes one place stand out from another is simply the energy. You know, taking one scene to the next, everything one after another, just play by play. It's important. And sometimes nervous energy is the thing that really makes you feel alive. Like, okay, when you're actually physically choking beforehand. Yeah, okay, you feel like you're gonna die. But you get through it, right? Either you drink more water, you put yourself in a calming headspace, you know, you do all things. You do everything. It's almost like the hiccups. You drink water from the far side of the glass. Yeah, don't choke yourself, you know. But rely on yourself too. Okay, find things that work. Because even if other people help you, they're not going to be there all the time. You know, they're going to need their own help. You kind of have to take yourself to the side and say, okay, Fwipp, you can do this. You have the tools to do this. You know you're going to be good. You're worried, but it's okay. It's okay to be worried. You're human, but you're amazing. You know, and you are too. Trust me. Everybody's equally amazing. That's what being unique is, you know. I've come to believe that anyway. You know, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And if I'm awesome, you're awesome. Okay? And if you're awesome, I'm awesome. So, you know, we all have potential to be anything, really. And that's kind of interesting, you know. Let's just keep trying our best, really. We're cutting that out. Anyway,